This show starts with a girl named Wednesday Addams walking to her class. When she's in the school hallway, everyone looks at her strangely because she's known as weird and doesn't show much interest in what's happening around her. One day, she finds her little brother, Pugsley, stuck in his locker with an apple in his mouth to keep him quiet. She quickly frees him and asks who hurt him, but Pugsley doesn't want her to make trouble at school. While trying to help him, Wednesday suddenly sees a picture in her mind of what happened to Pugsley before he got stuck in the locker. She realizes she has a strange power to see things before they happen, but she doesn't know how to control it because it happens unexpectedly. After having the vision, Wednesday figured out that the guys who bullied Pugsley were from the water polo team. Thinking she was the only one allowed to tease her brother, Wednesday hurried to find those guys. She went to the school pool and spotted them practicing. Seeing her brother's bullies in the water, Wednesday dumped 2 bags of piranhas into the pool to get back at them. They scrambled to the pool's edge, trying to save themselves. Unfortunately, one of them got badly hurt by the piranhas. As a result, Wednesday got kicked out of school, so her folks had to send her to another one in a small town named Jericho. A few days later, Wednesday, along with her parents, Morticia and Gomez Addams, was on her way to her new school. They planned to enroll her in Nevermore Academy, where Morticia and Gomez had gone to school before. They believed it was the right place for Wednesday because it's for kids who are seen as different, just like her. Plus, it's in a secluded area surrounded by forests, making it hard for her to run away. When they arrived, they were greeted by the principal, Larissa Weems, who used to be Morticia's roommate. Miss Weems then took Wednesday to Ophelia Hall, where she'd be rooming with a girl named Enid Sinclair. Unlike Wednesday, who's usually gloomy and prefers black, Enid is a bright and colorful girl. She's also really friendly and tries to be friends with Wednesday, even though Wednesday isn't very friendly back. Miss Weems got Wednesday a black uniform, knowing she likes that color. Then Enid showed Wednesday around the school and talked about the 4 main groups: fangs, furs, stoners, and scales. Each group has things in common, like vampires and fangs, werewolves and furs, and sirens and scales. Enid joined furs because she's a werewolf. Enid also told Wednesday about Bianca Barkley, a siren who's the leader of scales. Bianca comes from a noble family, just like her ex-boyfriend, Xavier Thorpe, who's a famous artist at Nevermore Academy. While they were chatting about social media, a guy named Ajax Petropoulos warned Enid that Wednesday might be a psychopath and killer. He didn't realize Wednesday was there, so she heard everything. When Enid introduced Ajax to Wednesday, he felt bad for what he said, but Wednesday didn't mind. Instead, she shared something even scarier with him. After Enid showed her around, Wednesday met her parents to say goodbye. Morticia gave her a necklace and a crystal ball so they could stay in touch since Wednesday didn't like using phones or gadgets. Before they left, Gomez brought out Thing, a moving hand, to secretly watch Wednesday and report back to him. Meanwhile, a man entered the forest near Nevermore Academy for hunting. While resting, he was attacked and killed by a horrible monster. It was the 4th murder in a short time, with victims brutally killed and limbs torn off, making it seem like a wild animal attack. Sheriff Donovan Galpin suspected the murders were linked to Nevermore Academy. The next day, Wednesday joined a fencing class and met Rowan Laszlo, who had just lost to Bianca. Bianca complained to her coach, Vlad, about not having a challenging opponent. Wednesday volunteered to fight Bianca without a helmet. At first, Vlad didn't like Wednesday's idea because it could be risky. But when Bianca agreed to the challenge and promised not to involve Vlad if anything went wrong, he reluctantly allowed them to fight without helmets. They decided whoever got hurt first would lose. Wednesday showed she was skilled, keeping up with Bianca, but Bianca refused to be beaten by a new student. She used her best moves and eventually won by injuring Wednesday's forehead. As Wednesday headed back to her room, someone dropped a statue on her, but Xavier saved her just in time. He took her to the infirmary, where he revealed they'd met before when the Addams family attended his godmother's funeral. Wednesday had saved him from almost being burned in the coffin. In her free time, Wednesday likes to write mystery novels. While writing, she heard a noise from her bed and found Thing hiding there. She knew her parents had sent Thing to spy on her. Since Thing was caught, Wednesday gave it 2 options: be locked up for a semester or help her escape. Thing chose to help her rather than be locked up. The next day, Miss Weems drove Wednesday to Jericho to see a psychiatrist named Valerie Kinbot. Wednesday had to go there because the court ordered it after she tried to hurt her old classmates. During the counseling, Wednesday pretended to need the restroom and tried to escape through the window. But on her way out, she bumped into a man and had a vision of his death in a car accident. Later, she went to a coffee shop and met Tyler, Sheriff Galpin's son, who was struggling with a coffee machine. She fixed it for him, and he offered to take her to the train station after he finished work in an hour. While waiting, Lucas Walker, the mayor's son, and his friends insulted Wednesday for being a student at Nevermore Academy. She insulted them back and ended up fighting them. Surprisingly, Wednesday was a skilled fighter and easily beat Lucas and his friends. Sheriff Galpin arrived and was surprised to see Wednesday handle them alone. Miss Weems found Wednesday there after she escaped from Dr. Kinbot's office. When Miss Weems called her by her last name, Sheriff Galpin was shocked because he knew Wednesday's father, Gomez Adams. Sheriff Galpin warned Wednesday that her dad was a killer and said he'd watch her closely because she was part of the Adams family. On their way back to Nevermore Academy, Wednesday and Miss Weems saw a crashed truck near the forest. Miss Weems hoped no one died, but Wednesday said the driver was dead with a broken neck, surprising Miss Weems. Wednesday didn't explain how she knew, but she had a vision of the accident when she collided with the driver earlier. That evening, Wednesday played her cello on the roof to relax after a stressful day. Meanwhile, Rowan used his telekinesis to get a book from a secret room and tore out a page with a sketch of a girl with 2 braids. Later, Wednesday sent Thing to Tyler's house. Tyler was scared at first but realized Wednesday sent Thing. She gave him a phone number and asked him to call her. Tyler made a video call with Wednesday, who used Enid's laptop. She told Tyler about the Harvest Festival and asked him to help her escape. She promised a reward, but Tyler said he'd help because she fixed the coffee machine for him. At the Harvest Festival, Wednesday met Tyler, who gave her police papers about her dad's murder case. Even though Gomez Adams was cleared of the charges, Sheriff Galpin still thinks he did it and wants to find proof to lock him up. As they're about to leave for the train station, Lucas and his friends show up, wanting revenge on Wednesday for embarrassing them. To avoid a scene, Wednesday and Tyler escape into the crowd. While fleeing, Wednesday accidentally runs into Rowan and has a vision of his death. She decides not to leave and follows Rowan into the forest. There, she warns him about his fate. But to her surprise, Rowan attacks her with his telekinesis, claiming he must kill her to save everyone at Nevermore Academy. He admits to dropping the statue to kill her, as his mom, a clairvoyant, predicted she'd cause trouble at Nevermore. Rowan's mom sent him to stop the girl with braids, mentioned in a book in a secret room at the academy, if she ever came. Suddenly, a monster appeared and attacked Rowan, tearing him apart and killing him. Oddly, the monster only looked at Wednesday before leaving. She rushed to tell Sheriff Galpin, who sent officers to find Rowan's body and the monster. After a day of searching, they found nothing. Sheriff Galpin thought Wednesday made it up, but she insisted she saw the monster kill Rowan. She believed someone was hiding the truth to keep the monster's existence secret. During their argument, Rowan walked in, alive and well, contradicting Wednesday's story. Sheriff Galpin closed the case, but Wednesday remained suspicious of Rowan. She thought the Rowan there might not be the real one. She wanted to investigate further. Wednesday asked Miss Weems to talk to Rowan, but he'd already been expelled. Miss Weems wouldn't say why, and said he was leaving on a train that afternoon. Wednesday wanted to learn more about Rowan, so she talked to her classmates. First, she spoke with Bianca, who was unconscious during the incident. Bianca said she told Miss Weems and took Wednesday back to Nevermore. Then, she talked to Xavier, Rowan's roommate. Xavier said Rowan used to be nice, but had been acting strange lately. He asked about Wednesday and Tyler, noticing their friendship. Wednesday said Tyler was just helping her leave town. Xavier warned her about Tyler and the town boys, saying they mistreat Nevermore students. Xavier seemed to have feelings for Wednesday and was jealous of her friendship with Tyler. Wednesday sent Thing to follow Rowan to the train station. But Thing lost sight of Rowan when he went into the restroom and transformed into a middle-aged man. Thing waited, but Rowan never came out. Rowan, now the middle-aged man, left the station and turned into Miss Weems, revealing she was the shapeshifter. Unable to find Rowan, Wednesday went to the crime scene. There, she met Tyler, who was with his father, Sheriff Galpin, investigating a murder. Tyler asked about Rowan, and after finding Rowan's glasses at the scene, he believed Wednesday. Back at Nevermore, Wednesday sneaked into Rowan and Xavier's room to find the book Rowan took from the secret room. But Wednesday couldn't find the book and had to hide when Xavier and Bianca entered the room. Bianca was upset about Xavier being close to Wednesday and argued with him, bringing up their breakup and trying to win him back. The next day, Wednesday and Enid took part in the Edgar Allan Poe Cup, competing against Bianca's and Xavier's teams in a rowing race. Each team had to row to Raven Island, grab a flag from Crackstone's crypt, and return without sinking. Bianca's team always cheated, and this time, they had a mermaid named Kent to disrupt the other team's boats by pushing them. Realizing the plan, Wednesday brought out the net she had prepared to catch Kent. They reached Raven Island, and Wednesday hurried to Crackstone's crypt for the flag. Touching the crypt, she had a vision of a girl resembling her, who said she was the key. Before she could ask more, Wednesday woke up and returned to the boat. As they sailed back, Kent, freed from the net, tried to disrupt their boat. Thing jumped in to stop Kent, and they caught up with Bianca's team, who were close to winning. Wednesday used a weapon to puncture Bianca's boat, and they won the cup by defeating the former champions, Bianca's team. Later that night, Wednesday followed a clue from the torn book page given by Rowan and discovered a hidden library beneath Edgar Allan Poe's statue. There, she found the book she sought. But as she tried to leave, someone attacked her from behind. The Nightshade, a group of elite Nevermore students including Bianca, Xavier, Ajax, Kent, and others privileged by the principal, confronted her. Bianca wanted to punish Wednesday for entering without permission, while Xavier suggested recruiting her, as her parents were once members. However, Wednesday declined the offer and left the place. After assembling the book's pictures, Wednesday learned about Joseph Crackstone, Jericho's founder. The next day, Wednesday and her schoolmates from Nevermore Academy volunteered for Outreach Day in Jericho. Knowing Crackstone was a pilgrim, Wednesday investigated Pilgrim World, a famous tourist spot, for clues about him. While volunteering there, Wednesday saw Lucas and his friends bullying Eugene Ottinger, a schoolmate who reminded her of Pugsley. She rescued Eugene and took him on a tour of Pilgrim World. Wednesday, curious about Crackstone's history, asked Eugene to watch for anyone while she explored a forbidden area. Inside, she discovered a painting depicting Crackstone's witch trials, and the girl from her vision was in it. Thinking the girl might be linked to Crackstone, Wednesday searched for the book the girl held, but found only a replica. She then asked Tyler about the old meeting house from the painting, hoping for clues. Tyler said it was now a ruined building in the forest, often occupied by vagrants and addicts, warning Wednesday to be cautious if she went there. Ignoring Tyler's advice, Wednesday hurried to the location he mentioned. At the old meeting house ruins, she explored, hoping for a vision of Crackstone and the girl. Suddenly, she had a vision of her ancestor, Goody Adams. Goody and her family, accused of being sorcerers, were trapped by Crackstone and his followers, who planned to burn them. Thankfully, Goody escaped and warned Wednesday that Crackstone wouldn't stop until he destroyed outcasts like them and their schoolmates at Nevermore Academy. As Wednesday prepared to leave, the homicidal monster suddenly appeared, prompting her to chase after it, though she couldn't catch up. Finding the monster's footprints, which turned into human ones, proved it was actually a person. Xavier then showed up, worried about her safety, and mentioned inviting Rowan for snowboarding, though they hadn't done it before. Strangely, Rowan quickly replied, declining the invitation. At the unveiling of the Crackstone statue, Wednesday burned it to avenge her ancestors suffering at the hands of Crackstone. Later that night, a homeless man, tinkering with a camera he found, was startled by the homicidal monster's sudden appearance, leading to a fatal attack. Sheriff Galpin, arriving at the scene, discovered the camera and found evidence of the monster captured by the beggar. This made him consider Wednesday's claims about the monster's presence in the area. Meanwhile, Enid anxiously waited for Ajax, who didn't show up for their date. Ajax accidentally turned to stone after seeing his reflection due to his Gorgon nature. Wednesday, sneaking out of Nevermore Academy, examined the victim's body in the morgue with Thing's help. They noticed a pattern. Each victim was missing a limb, suggesting the monster was a psychopathic serial killer collecting trophies from his victims. The following day, Wednesday noticed Xavier acting oddly and spotted scratch marks on his neck. When she asked, Xavier claimed they were from a fencing accident. This raised Wednesday's suspicion, prompting her to secretly trail him to his painting studio near the forest. Upon his departure, She snuck into the studio and was shocked to find numerous paintings of the homicidal monster, all resembling the original creature. Convinced Xavier was the monster, she took a sketch and showed it to Sheriff Galpin, urging him to investigate Xavier's whereabouts during the murder and search the studio for evidence. However, Sheriff Galpin declined, citing a lack of evidence to involve Xavier in the investigation or conduct a search. Thus, Wednesday was resolute in gathering clues and evidence to implicate Xavier, prompting Sheriff Galpin to interrogate him. With Eugene's assistance, Wednesday eventually located a suspected lair of the homicidal monster. Inside the cave, she discovered animal bones strewn about and a chain meant for restraining humans. Picking up a broken fong believed to be from the monster, she planned to compare its DNA with Xavier's blood found in the painting studio. However, Xavier caught Wednesday before she could leave the studio. Despite his attempts to convince her of his innocence, revealing his nightmares about the monster and his ability to bring paintings to life, Wednesday remained skeptical. She vowed to delve deeper into the matter, unconvinced by Xavier's explanation. Shortly after, Wednesday approached Sheriff Galpin, presenting the broken fong of the monster along with Xavier's blood, urging him to conduct a DNA match to confirm Xavier's identity as the homicidal monster. Upon returning to Nevermore, Wednesday and Eugene devised a plan to set a trap in the monster's hideout, intending to capture photographic evidence of the creature to present to Sheriff Galpin. However, Thing and Enid had secretly arranged for Wednesday to attend the dance party with Tyler. Understanding Wednesday's usual reluctance to socialize, they orchestrated a surprise by arranging Tyler as her date and acquiring a black party dress for her. Faced with Tyler's arrival for the dance, Wednesday reluctantly postponed her plans with Eugene. Wednesday informed Eugene that she had to cancel their plans for the evening and cautioned him against venturing into the forest at night. However, despite Wednesday's warning, Eugene, who had already prepared, ignored her advice and ventured into the forest alone. Meanwhile, at the dance with Tyler, Wednesday attracted the attention of the Nevermore Academy students, particularly Xavier, who appeared irritated and envious that Wednesday chose to attend with Tyler rather than with him. Xavier approached Wednesday and disclosed that Tyler and his friends had intentionally damaged the mural Xavier had painted during last year's outreach day. When Wednesday questioned Tyler about it, he did not deny the accusation and acknowledged his regret for his actions. Tyler assured Wednesday that he would not associate with Lucas and his friends again and attempted to make amends for his mistake. Meanwhile, Eugene, who was monitoring the homicidal monster's hideout, witnessed someone entering the lair and setting it ablaze. Realizing that he had been spotted, Eugene quickly fled the scene. Back at Nevermore, Lucas's friends clandestinely infiltrated the school with the intention of disrupting the prom in retaliation for Wednesday's actions of burning the Crackstone statue. They maliciously sprayed colored paint across the prom hall, creating the illusion of blood covering the area. This caused sudden panic and fear among the Nevermore students, who attempted to flee. Amidst the chaos, Wednesday had a vision of Eugene being attacked by the homicidal monster. Wednesday hurried into the forest, accompanied by her teacher, Miss Thornhill, who assisted her in locating Eugene. However, upon reaching the forest, they discovered Eugene unconscious, bloodied, and severely injured from the monster's attack. A few days later, Nevermore Academy hosted Parents' Weekend, inviting parents to spend time with their children at the academy. Morticia and Gomez Adams, along with Pugsley and their butler, Lurch, arrived for the event. Miss Weems informed them about Eugene's unfortunate incident, mentioning that he was recovering well and expected to fully recuperate. Enid suggested that Wednesday visit Eugene, who remained in a coma at the hospital. However, Wednesday felt responsible for Eugene's condition and believed it inappropriate to visit him, burdened by guilt for the harm he suffered because of her. Enid attempted to reassure Wednesday that Eugene's misfortune wasn't her responsibility, as she had cautioned him against venturing into the forest alone. Moreover, with no recent attacks by the homicidal monster, Enid speculated that it might have vanished. Despite typically being lively and eager, Enid seemed disinterested during Parents' Weekend because her mother constantly inquired about her transformation into a werewolf, a feat she had yet to achieve despite numerous attempts. Similarly, Xavier and Bianca appeared unenthused since their parents had never attended the event since their enrollment at Nevermore Academy. However, Bianca was taken aback when her mother, Gabrielle, unexpectedly appeared, having never before shown interest in her daughter's well-being. leaving Bianca to believe that she had been abandoned. Upon Dr. Kinbot's assessment that Wednesday's progress in therapy was lacking, Miss Weems arranged for Wednesday and her family to partake in a weekend-long family therapy session at Dr. Kinbot's suggestion. However, during the session, Wednesday veered off topic, attempting to gather information about the murder case implicating her father. Despite Morticia's assurance that Gomez wasn't responsible for Garrett Gates' murder, Wednesday remained resolute in her quest for the truth. Meanwhile, in Jericho, Bianca engaged in a heated exchange with her mother over Gabrielle's exploitation of the morning song community using her siren charm to swindle their wealth. Bianca grows even more upset upon discovering that her mother's visit was solely to seek assistance in recruiting more members for the morning song community. Gabrielle urges Bianca to utilize her siren charm on the morning song members, admitting that her own charm is weakening. Bianca promptly declines, adamant about not engaging with the community or deceiving others with her charm. Anticipating her daughter's refusal, Gabrielle then threatens to expose Bianca's use of the charm to cheat her way into Nevermore Academy. Faced with this ultimatum, Bianca reluctantly agrees to help but insists that Gabrielle wait until after she graduates from the school. At the same time, Sheriff Galpin receives a report about Dr. Anwar, a coroner, being discovered dead in the morgue. However, the investigation faces obstacles because the only CCTV camera in the morgue is covered in black gum, hindering the police's efforts. At the scene, Sheriff Galpin discovers suicide notes purportedly written by Dr. Anwar before his demise. These notes express his guilt for concealing facts about an old murder case by falsifying the death report. Upon realizing that the old case referred to as Garrett Gates' death, Sheriff Galpin immediately suspects Gomez Adams' involvement in Dr. Anwar's demise. It turns out that Sheriff Galpin had long suspected Gomez Adams as the culprit in Garrett Gates' murder. Surprisingly, shortly after Gomez Adams arrives in Jericho, Dr. Anwar is found dead, revealing in his notes that he had falsified Garrett Gates' death report, thus incriminating Gomez Adams. Meanwhile, Wednesday followed Enid's advice and visited Eugene in the treatment room. She brought a jar of honey, as Eugene had the ability to control bees, and Wednesday thought it might cheer him up. Feeling guilty about Eugene's attack, she asked Thing to keep an eye on him, fearing the attacker might return. Later, Eugene's parents arrived, thanking Wednesday for being a good friend to Eugene and mentioning his fondness for her and the Hummers Club. Upon returning to school, Wednesday was shocked to find Sheriff Galpin waiting, arresting her father for Garrett Gates' murder. With her father in custody, Wednesday became even more determined to uncover the truth about the case. Wednesday went to see her father in prison, urging him to reveal the truth about the night of the murder. Gomez, realizing he owed his daughter an explanation, began to recount his past with Garrett Gates. Garrett, a normie, became fixated on Morticia, mistaking her kindness for romantic interest. His obsession led to stalking, which Morticia tried to report to the police. However, her complaints were ignored due to Garrett's influential family and Morticia's status as a social outcast at Nevermore Academy. The situation worsened when Garrett's father, a bigot who despised outcasts, defended his son and accused Morticia of lying. The scene shifts to the past when Garrett, consumed by jealousy, breaks into Nevermore Academy and finds Morticia with Gomez. Enraged, Garrett attempts to attack Gomez with a sword, leading to a fierce fight. As the confrontation escalates, Gomez defends himself and accidentally stabs Garrett, resulting in Garrett's death. Gomez concludes his tale, expressing regret to Wednesday for not being a better father to her. However, Wednesday argued that Gomez had raised her to be strong and independent, preparing her to confront life's challenges. Convinced of her father's innocence, Wednesday resolved to prove that he was not responsible for Garrett Gates' murder. She then confronted her mother at the Nightshade headquarters, seeking answers about the events surrounding Garrett Gates' death. Morticia disclosed that it was Goody Adams who killed Joseph Crackstone, not Gomez. Morticia recounted the night when she intervened to prevent Garrett from harming Gomez, wielding a sword to defend her husband. Morticia recounted the night when Garrett, consumed by rage, attacked her with a menacing glare and frothing at the mouth. Fearing for her safety, she was compelled to defend herself by fatally injuring Garrett. Witnessing this, Gomez intervened, taking the blame upon himself to protect Morticia. Hearing this, Wednesday became suspicious and pressed her mother for more details about Garrett's condition that night. Together, they decided to exhume Garrett's grave to uncover the truth. Despite landing in jail for their unauthorized actions, Wednesday managed to prove that Garrett did not die from Morticia's stab wound, but from nightshade poison, which preserved his body, revealing the true cause of his death. Shortly after, Wednesday experienced a vision of Garrett's past. She saw how Garrett's father, Ansel Gates, instructed him to use nightshade poison to harm students at Nevermore Academy, but the plan backfired, claiming Garrett's own life. The following day, Wednesday and her mother confronted the mayor, who was also the sheriff involved in Garrett's case. Under pressure from Wednesday, the mayor confessed to falsifying Garrett's death report to protect Jericho and the academy's reputation. However, Morticia remained skeptical, suspecting collusion between the mayor and Garrett's father to hide the truth about Garrett's death. Armed with the evidence she gathered, Wednesday cornered the mayor, compelling him to release Gomez from prison. Wednesday and Morticia threatened to expose the truth about Garrett Gates' death unless Gomez was set free. While they waited for Gomez's release, Morticia shared with Wednesday about their shared supernatural abilities. Unlike Morticia, who usually experiences positive visions due to her kind nature, Wednesday possesses greater strength, according to Morticia. She encourages Wednesday to hone her powers with the guidance of their deceased ancestors. Morticia warns Wednesday to tread carefully around Goody Adams, a powerful but embittered witch consumed by vengeance. Morticia urges Wednesday to avoid the same fate by staying open with her about her experiences and powers. While looking through her yearbook from Nevermore Academy, Wednesday noticed something amiss and hurried to confront Miss Weems in her quarters. She discovered that Miss Weems had disguised herself as Rowan to conceal his death, claiming it was at the behest of Rowan's father, who insisted they avoid involving the authorities. Their conversation was interrupted by a strange occurrence. The grass outside suddenly caught fire, forming the phrase, "Fire will rain." Later that evening, Enid took Wednesday to Crackstone's crypt, where Thing had arranged a birthday surprise with their classmates. However, Wednesday's attention was drawn to a Latin inscription inside the crypt, which, when translated, eerily read, "Fire will rain when I rise." When Wednesday touched the inscription, she suddenly experienced a vision where she encountered Goody, who warned her about Crackstone's return to wreak havoc on the outcasts at Nevermore Academy. Goody showed Wednesday a gate and instructed her to find it to thwart Crackstone's plans. On her 16th birthday, Wednesday received a preserved squirrel carcass from her parents and a black knit scarf from Enid. While in the city, Wednesday was offered a free cup of coffee and a dinner invite from Tyler to celebrate her birthday, but she declined to pursue Goody's clues. Later that night, Wednesday approached Xavier and inquired about the gate. Surprisingly, Xavier had dreamt about the gate and even painted it. He revealed that it was the gate to the Gates family's house. The following day, Wednesday, planning to sneak into the long-abandoned Gates family house, spotted the mayor emerging from the old building. She covertly trailed him and overheard his conversation with Sheriff Galpin. Determined to uncover more, Wednesday hid in the trunk of the mayor's car. However, as the mayor was en route to meet Sheriff Galpin at the coffee shop, he was struck by a speeding car and fell into a coma. Wednesday found herself a suspect due to her presence in the mayor's car, but she denied any involvement, suggesting someone wanted to silence the mayor for uncovering hidden truths. As a consequence of her association with the incident, Miss Weems punished Wednesday, restricting her from leaving Nevermore Academy under any circumstances. However, Wednesday devised a clever plan involving Tyler and Enid to sneak out of Nevermore Academy and investigate the Gates family's house. Meanwhile, Xavier visited Wednesday's room and learned from Thing that she had secretly gone to the Gates family's house. Upon reaching Garrett and his family's home, Tyler and Enid appeared puzzled, thinking they were celebrating Wednesday's birthday. However, Wednesday explained that her birthday wasn't important compared to this investigation. As they opened the garage at the house, they were shocked to discover the car that had struck the mayor earlier that day. Wednesday wondered about the driver, as Sheriff Galpin had informed her that the entire Garrett family had died tragically and the house had been vacant for years. Upon entering the house, Wednesday accidentally stumbles upon a hidden room with a painting of Joseph Crackstone and candles placed beneath it, suggesting it's a shrine. Enid and Tyler appear horrified to learn that the Gates family worships Joseph Crackstone, but Wednesday casually remarks that the altar in her house is much larger as it's in the living room. As Wednesday inspects the candles, she notices they're still warm, indicating someone had recently extinguished them before their arrival. Instructing Tyler to search downstairs and the basement, Wednesday and Enid explore upstairs. They come across a tidy room that appears to have been recently cleaned. While examining the room, they discover a music box engraved with the initials LG, believed to have belonged to Garrett's sister, Laurel Gates, who reportedly drowned at sea. Shortly after, they were startled by Tyler's screams, alerting them to the presence of the homicidal monster. To their surprise, the monster had infiltrated the house and began chasing Wednesday and Enid as they attempted to flee to the basement. After narrowly evading the monster's pursuit, they stumbled upon the grisly remains of the monster's victims. Frantically searching for Tyler, they discovered him wounded from the monster's attack. Xavier suddenly appeared and assisted in tending to Tyler's injuries. They decided to transport Tyler to his home discreetly to avoid detection by Sheriff Galpin. However, Tyler's father intercepted them and demanded an explanation for his son's injuries. Wednesday then led Sheriff Galpin to the Gates family's house to reveal the gruesome evidence they had discovered in the basement. Upon reaching the house, they discovered nothing, not even Joseph Crackstone's shrine or Laurel Gates' new bed. Sheriff Galpin concluded that Wednesday had fabricated the story since she couldn't provide any evidence. Back at Nevermore Academy, Enid, feeling betrayed by Wednesday's deceit and the perilous situation she had placed them in, decided to relocate to another room. Despite Enid's genuine efforts to befriend her despite her peculiarities, Wednesday never reciprocated the friendship. Consequently, Enid chose to relinquish her attempts and distance herself from Wednesday. Unexpectedly, after Enid's departure, Wednesday experienced an unfamiliar sensation of sadness and loneliness, despite her usual indifference towards others. Holding Laurel's music box, which she had taken from the family home, Wednesday made a startling discovery. Covertly taken photos of herself, suggesting that Laurel might still be alive and observing her for unknown reasons. Simultaneously, an intruder infiltrated the mayor's infirmary, orchestrating the mayor's demise to silence him permanently. At the mayor's funeral, Wednesday harbored suspicions towards several individuals who could be orchestrating the string of incidents, yet lacked concrete evidence to unveil their culpability. Following the somber occasion, Wednesday encountered her uncle, Fester, who had arrived in Jericho to pay her a visit. Delighted by Fester's presence, Wednesday cherished their close bond and the wisdom he imparted to her. Wednesday's father had briefed Fester on the situation, prompting him to travel to Jericho to assist his niece. Wednesday discreetly brought Fester into Nevermore Academy and instructed him to hide in the Hummer's headquarters, knowing it was rarely visited except by Eugene, who was now in a coma at the hospital. Subsequently, Wednesday showed her uncle a sketch of the homicidal monster, which Fester identified as the Hyde. However, he was unaware of what caused someone to transform into the Hyde, suggesting Wednesday search for Nathaniel Faulkner's diary, the founder of Nevermore Academy, which was stored in a secret safe in the Nightshade Library. Eager to uncover the truth, Wednesday enlisted her uncle's help in locating the diary. Later that evening, while in the Nightshade Library, Wednesday encountered Xavier, who was alone. Their exchange escalated into a heated argument as Wednesday accused Xavier of being the homicidal monster due to his frequent presence at the scenes and accurate depictions of the creature in his paintings. Unable to refute the accusation, Xavier questioned why he hadn't harmed her if he was the monster. Dissatisfied with Wednesday's explanation, Xavier departed, weary of her accusations. Shortly after, Fester arrived, and together they succeeded in locating Faulkner's diary with the assistance of the Thing. In Faulkner's diary, the Hyde was depicted as inherently artistic yet harboring a vengeful disposition. Born from mutation, it remains dormant until triggered by trauma, chemical stimulation, or hypnosis. Trauma serves as a catalyst, forming an immediate bond between the Hyde and its liberator, who becomes its master, directing the creature towards their malevolent objectives. Understanding this, Wednesday concludes that the true orchestrator behind the chaos is not just the homicidal monster, but also its controlling master, who releases and commands the Hyde. Initially suspecting Xavier, Wednesday followed him and discovered he was undergoing therapy with Dr. Kinbot, meeting her secretly by the lake. Witnessing this, Wednesday speculated that Dr. Kinbot might be the master of the Hyde. While discussing the Hyde with her uncle at the coffee shop, Tyler unexpectedly joined them, bringing Wednesday a cup of coffee. Expressing interest in the Hyde, Tyler asked Wednesday to explain the monster that had injured him. Subsequently, He invited Wednesday for a date at Crackstone's crypt. During their simple yet romantic outing, Tyler professed his love for Wednesday. But she prioritized finding the mastermind behind the tragedies that had left many dead and Eugene comatose in the hospital. Upon returning to Nevermore, Wednesday discovered her room ransacked, Thing attacked, and Faulkner's diary stolen. Wednesday hurriedly brought Thing to Fester, who managed to revive Thing after administering several shocks with his power. An enraged Wednesday vowed to punish anyone who dared to harm Thing, as Thing was part of the Addams family, and deep down, she cared for Thing. After saving Thing, Wednesday informed Fester that the police were searching for him throughout the city, urging him to leave immediately to avoid capture. Understanding the urgency, Fester agreed to take care of Thing that night and depart the next day. Later, Wednesday met with Miss Weems to disclose information about the hide. To her surprise, Miss Weems was already aware that the homicidal monster was the hide, but had concealed this fact to safeguard Nevermore Academy. Miss Weems revealed that Faulkner had been killed by the hide, leading to the banishment of the creature from Nevermore Academy 30 years ago due to its extreme violence and unpredictability. Suspecting that Wednesday had identified someone as the hide, Miss Weems implored her to share any suspicions regarding the identity of the individual responsible for the heinous murders in Jericho. However, Wednesday doubted Miss Weems's intentions, believing she only cared about preserving her reputation as the school's principal. The following day, Bianca accompanied Wednesday to the Nightshade Library to meet Lucas, the mayor's son. Lucas disclosed that his father had investigated Laurel Gates's death before his demise. According to the death report from the British police, Laurel Gates was officially declared deceased due to drowning, although her body was never recovered. Years after Laurel's supposed death, someone purchased the old Gates family house, leading Wednesday to suspect that it was Laurel Gates, who might have assumed a new identity. Upon her return to Jericho, Laurel sought vengeance against those she blamed for her family's downfall, targeting the mayor and Dr. Anwar. She held them responsible for Gomez Adams's release, who had been accused of her older brother's murder. Wednesday informed Bianca and Lucas that the hide, controlled by Laurel, was behind the killings. She confronted Dr. Kinbot, suspecting her of being Laurel in disguise, but Dr. Kinbot vehemently denied the accusation, offended by Wednesday's allegations. After being asked to leave, Wednesday left Dr. Kinbot's office. Shortly after, Dr. Kinbot heard noises from the restroom and discovered the hide attacking her, resulting in her demise. Later that evening, Wednesday found evidence in the painting studio implicating Xavier as the hide, including Rowan's glasses and Dr. Kinbot's necklace. Despite Xavier's protests of being framed, Wednesday contacted Sheriff Galpin, leading to Xavier's arrest for the murders attributed to the homicidal monster. With Xavier apprehended, Wednesday felt a sense of relief, believing that the terror caused by the hide was finally over. She reconciled with Enid, who decided to share a room with her once again. Later, Wednesday and Tyler meet at the coffee shop, where Wednesday agrees to start a romantic relationship with him. However, during their intimate moment, Wednesday has a vision of Dr. Kinbot's demise and realizes that Tyler is the hide, not Xavier. The next evening, Wednesday seeks help from Bianca and the Nightshade group to apprehend Tyler. Bianca hypnotizes Tyler with her siren charm, and they take him to Xavier's studio for interrogation. Wednesday discloses Tyler's connection to his mother, who was also a hide and a former Nevermore Academy student. Xavier had warned Wednesday about Tyler's heritage, urging her to be cautious. Despite Wednesday's desire to force Tyler to reveal his hide side, Bianca and the Nightshade refuse, unwilling to harm anyone, especially since Tyler had not transformed yet. They depart, leaving Wednesday alone. Bianca informs Miss Weems about Wednesday's actions, prompting Miss Weems to contact Sheriff Galpin. Sheriff Galpin arrives and arrests Wednesday, although Tyler is released due to lack of evidence. Tyler, revealing himself as the hide, taunts Wednesday for her failure to uncover the truth and for wrongly accusing an innocent person. As a result, Wednesday is expelled from Nevermore Academy by Miss Weems to resolve the issue swiftly. Wednesday reluctantly agreed to the expulsion, though she worried about the safety of the Nevermore Academy students and the townsfolk, with the hide still at large. Enid tried to reassure her, stating that the students possessed the strength to confront the monster. The following day, before departing for the train station, Wednesday visited Eugene, who had recovered. Eugene shared a crucial clue, prompting Wednesday to return to Nevermore Academy to expose the truth. There, she encountered Miss Thornhill, who was revealed to be Laurel Gates, having faked her death and assumed a new identity for revenge. Initially denying the accusations, Laurel confessed after Tyler arrived, disclosing her crimes, including instructing Tyler to harm innocent individuals as part of her vendetta. To everyone's surprise, Tyler was actually Miss Weems disguised as Tyler. Miss Weems, upon confirming Laurel's guilt, revealed her true identity and urged Laurel to face the consequences of her actions. However, Laurel, prepared with nightshade poison, injected Miss Weems, killing her. Subsequently, she attacked Wednesday, rendering her unconscious, and took her to Crackstone's crypt. Meanwhile, Thing rushed to Enid, informing her of Miss Weems' demise and Wednesday's abduction. Laurel disclosed her family's connection to Joseph Crackstone and her intention to fulfill his and her father's goal of eliminating the outcasts at Nevermore Academy. Laurel's plan involves resurrecting Joseph Crackstone, requiring human limbs and Wednesday's blood due to her lineage. With the gathered items and a spell from Goody Adams' book, Crackstone rises. Seeking vengeance, he stabs Wednesday and heads to Nevermore Academy with Laurel. At the school, Ajax alerts Nightshade to Laurel's scheme. While Bianca and the Sirens evacuate students, Enid races to Raven Island to rescue Wednesday. Meanwhile, Goody Adams arrives, promising to save Wednesday. Guiding her on defeating Crackstone, Goody's soul enters Wednesday's body, healing her. Wednesday then rushes to Nevermore to aid her classmates. Enid, arriving at Wednesday's location, fully transforms into a werewolf as the blood moon appears. Hearing a wolf's howl, Wednesday pauses, suspecting Enid's presence. However, she's confronted by Tyler, ordered by Laurel to kill her. Transforming into the Hide, Tyler attacks Wednesday. Enid arrives just in time, engaging in a fierce battle with Tyler and ultimately defeating him. Meanwhile, upon reaching Nevermore, Wednesday confronted Crackstone, who sought to destroy the school. They fought fiercely until Crackstone overpowered Wednesday, breaking her sword. Bianca tried to assist, but Crackstone easily defeated her. As Crackstone prepared to strike Wednesday, she swiftly stabbed his heart with her broken blade, causing him to disintegrate. Soon after, Laurel arrived, threatening Wednesday with a gun. But before Laurel could shoot, Eugene, newly arrived at Nevermore, commanded his swarm of bees to attack her. After these awful events, Sheriff Galpin finally arrested Tyler, knowing he was the Hide. For the first time, Wednesday embraced Enid tightly, grateful for her bravery in saving her life. At Nevermore Academy, Wednesday not only gained valuable experiences but also found friends who accepted her for who she was and stood by her side. Before leaving for vacation, Xavier gifted Wednesday a cell phone so they could stay in touch outside school. The series concludes with Wednesday receiving mysterious messages on her phone, suggesting that the danger might not be over. She suspects Laurel and Tyler were just pawns in a larger, impending disaster. So the moral of the story is if your friends tell you not to go into the forest alone, you might want to listen to them to avoid turning into stone or facing other spooky creatures.